La primera cosa
vediamo se si devo sedere, come ne vado? Mi dai un cosa? No, io lo presento e basta. Okay? Let's go to the second section of our presentation, and I'm introducing Angelo Maria Patti. He is a medical doctor and he has a lot of time of experience on diabetes studies, and he will speak about diabetes and sport.
Good morning to all. Now, after this beautiful break and sweet break, I talk about the role of sport on diabetes care and treatment. Then I really remember you that diabetes mellitus is a common disease of our population, and it is characterized by a series of changes due to a relative or absolute deficiency of insulin, which affects about 115 million people worldwide. And we know that we have two forms of diabetes, diabetes 1, type 1, that is common on the child and in younger people, and type 2 diabetes that is common in the age about 15 and 16 people. But the sports and the physical activities for the wellness of the people is most important, and in some cases we know that the only therapy that the patients use for the use of glycemic profile is sports. But for synergy of action of insulin and muscle work, exercise has long been considered a pillar of diabetes therapy, and exercise is an integral part of the diabetes treatment. But for the first diabetes of the form of child, insulin-dependent diabetes, sporting activity increases insulin sensitivity and reduces requirement, reduce the upward trend of typical diabetic weight, because the typical patients with diabetes 1 is obese, and most important in these patients is sports and aerobic sports. Increases the maximum capacity for oxygen consumption and improves the lipid profile with the augment of HDL and triglyceride. But the major risk of these people with diabetes 1 is the hypoglycemic episode determined from the exercise, and then immediately stop exercising in progress, take fast-acting carbohydrates, make a snack of a complex of carbohydrates as crackers or biscuits or fruit juice, and then rest 15 minutes and wait for the carbohydrate from being absorbed. In the common form of diabetes, the type 2 diabetes, exercise is important because it enhances the trophism of the musculoskeletal tissue responsible for insulin sensitivity. And this typical exercise reduces cardiovascular risk, metabolic risk, kidney risk, and musculoskeletal risk. The benefits of physical activity in the prevention of type 2 diabetes are imputable because 25% of its incidence is due to the sedentary lifestyle. And then studies indicate a marked reduction in the incidence of type 2 diabetes determined from the sport. The combination of aerobic exercise and a low-fat diet and high complex carbohydrates content is desirable in the prevention and treatment of type 2 diabetes. We imagine that a patient with type 2 diabetes is older patients, but is not common on the patient because the patient is has an age about 15 years. Then in this case, we conceal to the patients and sports or walking or swimming, but the patient is sedentary and it is most difficult to include these ideas for these patients. Is most facility take pills for the treatment. But when we have these patients, we examine all characteristics of these patients. A full list of 3 glucose profiles before and 2 hours after the 3 meals. 1AC, because it's the most important markers of diabetes, and cardiovascular risk with electrocardiographic and at rest, and in the cases of clinics and even minor HG abnormalities. Microalbuminuria for kidney risk, and for the eyes, most common is retinopathy, diabetic retinopathy, and we had FUDUS for the evaluation of vascular vessel of the eyes. Then the clinical examination of the fit for diabetic fatigue that in elderly patients is most common, and ability to recognize hypoglycemia and test of cardiovascular autonomic neuropathy. How is the physical activity randomized recommended for these typical patients? Aerobic sports, running, cycling, walking, gymnastics, swimming, cross-country skiing, climbing, dance, not recommended activities, combat sports, and for patients treated with hypoglycemic drugs, diving, sailing solo, and sports in which hypoglycemia puts at their risk on our list and others. And in conclusion, intensive intervention on lifestyle-based mixed physical exercise, prescribed and supervised, in addition to conventional treatment, in a dose-dependent manner improves glycemic control, cardiovascular risk, physical well-being of patients, and economic cost. Thank you.
Do you have a question for after this presentation? No. So the next speaker is FeEL Termini. He's a psychologist and a psychotherapist, and his presentation is about children with special educational needs and physical activity.
Good morning, dear colleagues. I want to present to you today a talk about special educational needs and sport. Focused on psychological aspects of the interaction between cognitive, affective, emotional and motor area. Sport represents a key element on an emotional and social level, a multidimensional contest, dynamic, ludic, able to intensify the awareness of oneself and one's body. In this sense, it becomes an educational and training tool, and it's often forerunner of social change. Sport, in fact, that combine physical activity with recreational activity, promoting health, longevity, physical and psychological well-being. As stressed by the European Union, sports are at the source of social inclusion and was recognized as an excellent tool to the integration of minorities and groups at the risk of social exclusion. I've chosen this phrase of Nelson Mandela to highlight the power of sport in changing the world under social and relational level. Sport has the power to evoke emotions. For this reason, it has an important factor to join people together, and especially young people, and it speaks the same language of young people. There is an important factor to overcome social, racial barriers and any kind of discrimination. Moreover, sport is a tool which, by comparison with their own limits and controlled psychomotor activity, improve the functional aptitudes, positively influence the education, the perception of self-concept, and improve self-esteem, and promote a new perception of our world. Literature provides several theoretical models that affirm the influence of movement in the individual development under cognitive, affective, emotional, and relational area. Psychomotricity has drawn many ideas from the psychological and psychoanalytical studies, and in particular on the child's psychic life. Thus, for example, the study of Piaget and Wallen, these two authors focuses their studies on tone, muscle tension, posture, mimicry and motility, and they believe that at the basis of the language and the intelligence there is movement. Wallen will speak about a tonic dialogue to describe the particular form of communication that takes place in mother-child dyad, in which the mother responds to the demands of the newborn, mainly expressed through the body, and with her body transmit messages of acceptance and caring. Melanie Klein explains that children form our mental representation from the bodily sensation that accompanies the interactions of objects, good or bad, which may be people, body parts, or function. In the 70s, neuroscience was born, a new discipline that joined a lot of scientists, physiologists, biochemists, mathematicians, microscopists, that unite their knowledge to empirically demonstrate that bodily experiences influence the cognitive and that intelligence does not have place all in the brain, but it also resides in all body cells. Neuroscience wants to emphasize that the idea of mind and body are independent of each other would not be considered valid. In the same years, the work on psychomotricity of Couturier and Lapierre constituted a critique of the classical conception of the body as made up of bones and muscle. Body is not an object on which to act with the mechanical mode and on which to could intervene only through corrective or orthopedic gymnastic. These authors stressed the inaccuracy of this view and the impossibility of separating dual motor and mental aspect of a human action. In our country, we have also found spreading Jean Lebeau's School of Psychomotricity. This method is based on active pedagogy. According to this orientation, the educator, the teacher, the psychologist, the coach had to put the practitioners in sport problem situation in groups or individually, allowing them with their help to confront their own limits, to control psychomotricity, thereby improving functional abilities and overcoming proposed difficulties. The importance and value of physical activity in education is enshrined in the UNESCO International Charter in 1976 that established the right to physical education and sport by all children, youth, seniors and subject with disability to ensure development of personal identity through physical education and sport programs suited to the personal need of each one. Adapted physical activity in a systemic and interdisciplinary multi-perspective integrates information and knowledge from different scientific fields such as sports medicine, rehabilitation sciences, physical education, spatial education, psychology, to identify the common area of knowledge that promote physical activity, leisure time, dance, sports, fitness and rehabilitation, able to overcome obstacles and difficulties throughout the life cycle. The adapted physical education on the basis of these guidelines is developed as a sub-discipline of physical education which deals with the realization of activities that allow the experience of personal safety, satisfaction and success with different abilities in according to Winnick that described this important question in 2005. What are special educational needs? All individuals during childhood and adolescence and throughout the life cycle manifest educational needs as to acquire knowledge and skills, developing a sense of belonging, sense of identity and dignity, appreciation and acceptance. But in case of developmental difficulties expressed in problematic functioning, according to the ICF, International Classification of Functioning, it is important to establish special individualized education. The term spatial, so, refers to the type of resources, spatial knowledge and skills needed to ensure everyone equal opportunities for development choices and quality of life. We can reach integration and social inclusion through 3 steps: adaptation, identification, and point of contact. Features of the process of adaptation are the flexibility, simplification, and mediation. The first aspect relates to the didactics, to the methodology of approach and practice. The second concerns the rules and their regulation in each sport. The third refers to the specific motor activity created for each one type of disability. Identification takes place every time that interventions are designed on the measure of the single individual in respect to their own condition, taking into account the limitation that determine the difficulty and identify the potential that should be exploited. Diversity thus becomes a resource, a possibility to reduce disadvantage, not deny its existence, but highlighting the strengths and enhancing the skill and capabilities. Point of contact finally refers to the same objectives that we can find between individual and belonging class or the belonging team. Invisible disability. What is invisible disability? Invisible disability, with this term, we indicate the experiences of the subject with special needs, his difficulties in feeling loved and accepted despite their condition. So, sport is an important factor to combat the hidden negative factor of invisible disability. Through sport we can combat negative feeling such as fear, anxiety, anguish, depression that determine frustration and closer with the outside world. In my opinion, in my clinical experience with the sport, we can have an help to contrast depression thanks to the release of endorphins that help individual to overcome the state and the depression condition. It's very important. We can reduce and totally deny it medicine, tablet and pharmacology therapy. Sport is the self-affirmation trust, the development of a good level of self-esteem and new and more positive image. It's a place to learn not only for subjects with special needs, but for all. It's a space in which we want to manage anger or negative feelings, in which everybody can wage metaphorical fights, a therapeutic setting, a container, another space where to reach a new form of self-government through the establishment of a functional relationships with professional reference figures. I want to highlight the importance of movement and sport in the relational and communication process and development. Interpersonal neurobiology emphasizes, for example, interpersonal neurobiology emphasizes the importance of the relational matrix of perception and empathy. Bowlby, Spitz and Mahler highlight the importance of body and contact skin to skin and warm in developmental psychology and in the attachment of mother-child diet, in the mother-child diet. Erickson speaks about minimal cues that are a small signal behavior and minimal details of communication, of perceptional style. Non-verbal reaction that express positive or negative emotion during the relation. So for us, educators, psychologists, coach, teachers and so on, it's important to observe these minimal cues to help young people in stress period or in the state depression condition, negative condition. Interactional synchrony, with this term we indicate a particular form of relationship communication through which the mother follows the child with their own her own movements, with sensory channel, they harmonize movements to respond effectively to the needs of the child. A similar concept is the embodied simulation, a crucial mechanism in intersubjectivity. It's the innate ability of the individual to internalize, to incorporate and simulate and mimic the state of another person. I want to highlight the importance of metaphor as a therapeutic factor and an important factor to change disability in diversibility. Through metaphor that all educators and coach and psychology can use, it's similar fairy tales. We can express, and this is important for young people, internal impulses in a controlled space and time. In the same manner, children learn through a metaphor, like giving voice to their positive or destructive desire through any given character, how to receive fulfillment from another, how to have ideal attachment, and how to identify himself, finding the most appropriate strategy to overcome difficulties in the life cycle. We can build a metaphor start from memories of the operator, from events involving people known, life story and important famous people, and from fairy tales. The structure of metaphor is a similar fairy tales. We have the presence of metaphorical conflict, the identification of, with characters such as heroes, wicked riskers, and the parallel learning situation is the most important step because we deliver that are hidden in the subject. And the last step is a metaphorical crisis and proclamation of a hero. So the purpose of this study is to enhance diversity in the common objective, which help individuals to compare with their limits in a context of rules and structure governed and codified, represented by a sports setting. Thank you for the attention.
Question? No question. Okay, the last presentation is the last speaker, yes, is Nina Ivancic. She is a professor of kinesiology at the University of Split, and her presentation is about physical activity as prevention of body posture.
Hello, my name is Nina, and my theme is physical activity as prevention of bad body posture. For introduction, I will talk about physical activity. Physical activity describes any body movement that substantially increases energy expenditure. It is commonly divided into occupation and leisure activities. Physical activity can range from everyday actions like walking or heavy houseworking, or leisure activities such as swimming, dancing, or do something sport, or going to exercise in the gym or a fitness center. Whereas exercise is used to describe planned and structured activities where repetitive body movements are made to improve or maintain components of the fitness. Physical activity and structural exercise can help maintain an independent life by maintaining postural stability, strength, endurance, and some bone disabilities. I always say that exercise can be fun, so get moving. Exercise doesn't have to be grueling. Take a dance class or push your kids on the swimming or trying something new. Find an action that you enjoy, or your kids, or whole family, and have fun with it. So you can integrate physical activity in your daily activity if you go with the stairs, not with the elevator, or go walk to the home, or turn up the TV. And for your kids, go with them into parks, involve them in the sport, take a short walks with them, or go practice with them, because many clubs have exercise with parents and the kids. The basic posture, the good posture is a very important way to maintain a healthy mind and the body. And when you practice correct posture, your body is an alignment in itself. I said that it's posture the way you hold your body while standing or when you're sitting, and you're performing tasks like lifting, bending, pulling, or reaching something others. If your posture is good, the bones of the spine, the vertebrae are correctly aligned. In the picture, you see good posture and the bad posture when you're standing or sitting. So you can see all of us how we're sitting now. A good posture is one that is comfortable and which the joints are natural, so it's in a natural body position. Awkward posture are those where the various parts of the body are not in their natural position, as the joint moves farther away from its natural position. In this picture, you can see good posture and the bad posture, and I think we all stands like here or like this, we are not in a good posture. So good posture is a prerequisite for preventing muscular disorders. These are compartments of the body structure such as muscles, joints, tendons, ligaments and nerves, or local blood circulation. A good posture is comfortable and which is the joints in neutral position. Awkward posture, like first, second, third and fourth, are those where the various parts of the body are not in our natural position. As the joint moves farther away from its natural position, more muscular effort is needed to achieve the same force, and muscle fatigue occurs. In a simple first, you can see that the center of pressure is on the back side of our body, and our back side of our body is in pain, so we can like straightening of the gluteus or the hamstrings, that whole legs. So we want to children and adolescents should do 60 minutes or 1 hour or more of physical activity each day, like aerobic activity or muscle straightening or bone straightening. In aerobic activities, it means that most of children must do 60 or more minutes in physical activity each day, like walking or running, like three days per week. Muscle straightening include muscle straightening activities such as gymnastics or push-ups, at least 3 days per week as part of your child's 60 or more minutes, how it is good for your kid. Bone straightening include bone straightening activities such as jumping rope or running at least 3 days. For us, we can train our core muscles. I said stay in shape. To keep your entire musculoskeletal system in tune to support your posture, it's important to keep yourself in shape. You can lie on your back. Here are 2 simples of exercises. I said on the first picture, you see that you can lie on your back with your legs bent to about 90 degrees and pull your abdominal muscles. Hold for like 10 seconds and repeat 8 times every day. Repeat 8 times, and that all repeat every day, and I think you will have some. Then you train your core, and you will have better intra-abdominal pressure, and you will have better breathing. Or second exercise, find your center. Proper standing posture is about alignment and balance. I know that we all know how to stand, but place your feet about shoulders width apart, stand up straightly, keep your shoulders squared, pull your head up and back. Here are some pictures where you can see bad posture and good posture, and you can see that if you have a bad posture, you have always back pain, and that often causes by extended hours of poor posture. You feel tired, you feel bad, you don't have self-conclusions, communication, poor posture, communication to those around you that you may be bored. And if you have good posture, you feel happy, you are increase your energy, producing and even reduce stress. Simply pulling your shoulders back, chin up and back slightly, communication, confidence, present and opens and helps you own the room. Everyone will see you if you have a good posture, and if you have bad posture, it's not good for everyone. I will talk something about DNS, and DNS is dynamic neuromuscular stabilization. You can train with exercise about DNS, that is dynamic neuromuscular stabilization, and it is necessary for optimal performance, and it is not achieved purely by adequate strike of abdominals and all muscles. Rather, core stabilization is accomplished through precise coordination of all muscles in our body and intra-abdominal pressure regulated by our central nervous system. The dynamic neuromuscular stabilization approach provides functional tools to access and activate the intrinsic spinal stabilizations, and then we will have a good posture. DNS treatment approach is based on careful assessment of the quality of stabilization movements with the goal of restoring the intrinsic spinal stabilization system. And all approach of DNS is based on the working like a healthy baby. So in this sample, you can see a baby from 4 months old. Who have kids know that a baby in 4 months do this. And this is a good posture because baby has better intra-abdominal pressure and a good intra-abdominal central nervous system. And we can exercise in this pose. So you lie on your back, and you will train your intra-abdominal pressure if you have knees in 90 degrees of flexion, and the rolling from side to side can incorporate with or without the ball to facilitate obliquous muscles chain activation, and that will be better for your posture and for your breathing at all. Second picture, you will see 8 9 month old baby with well balance, and this is how we need to sit. So you can see in other pictures, in second picture here, we can only train our respiration so that we train our intra-abdominal pressure, and that will better for performing some exercises. Like on picture 3, you see some person in the gym, and he's doing some pulling, and it's the same side like a baby in 8 9 months old. And the other picture, you can see deep squat. I think we know all what is a deep squat, and you see that the baby in 16 months do deep squat because he's from this position standing up, and like baby standing up, we need to do same side of deep squat. So we will train that our knees move anterior of the feet, because many people move our knees forward of our feet. So you will see here the exercises that are based on the 16 months old baby. And we can use a TheraBand if we want to do some straightening in this position. And that's all for me.
Okay, questions? No questions? Okay, this was the last presentation for our morning section. So we will go to a lunch together. But before this, we wanted to perform a video to be used in the European Week of Sport all together. So now we will organize how to do this video. Thank you to everyone, and Filippo is here probably. Okay.
a short video. We will be all in the front, say be active, and we will have a paper so written and be active. It's something easy, not too complicated.
Yes, not complicated.
Okay.
Quindi non lo devi far vedere in diretta questo?
No, no.